got a cup of tea.
Lovely.
It's wet, it's cold, it's winter, but we're here to alleviate the boredom of tires. All things classic cars. Shall we just go for it?
Yes.
This is the Tire Kickers. Classic car chat with Max and Matt.
It's wet, it's cold, and it's winter, but don't fear. We're here to alleviate the boredom by kicking the tyres on all things classic cars.
And if you're bored, we're here to help you waste your money. So how about buying a Z car, a Datsun from the 1970s that looked like an MGB, but was a whole lot better.
The Tire Kickers.
Also coming up, I've got a Stag, so should I get the Saloon? Max really rates the Triumph 2000, but I think it might just be more BL blandness.
Plus, if you're midlife, how about a quick car crisis? What's the best classic when your hair gets thinner and everyone starts mumbling? I said mumbling.
Sorry, what'd you say? Plus, we get your thoughts on poshed up cars and rusty old Mercs. It's all in episode 48 of the very nearly award-winning Tire Kickers.
Now, if anyone is new to classic cars, Matt, what's the first car you would suggest for them to buy?
That's pretty easy. I'd probably go like MGB because it's sporty, it's fun, easy to own. Maybe, what else? Alpha Spider, what about that? I mean, it's similar, but it's a little bit more stylish, pretty Italian flair, or an E-Type. I mean, if you've got budget for an E-Type, it is the classic design. You'll turn heads. Yeah, one of those three. What about you?
Well, how about something with a nod to all three of those, the Datsun 240Z. Now, before you start moaning, hear me out. So there's a 70s straight six, there's a camtail, and there's a front end nicked straight from the MGB. Now, I think these are really underappreciated. They drive pretty well, they've got a lusty engine, they look great, and crucially, you're unlikely to see another one at a Sunday morning meet. Now, I'm going to win you over with this one on your screen now. A 1972 manual 5-speed 2.4, 25,000 miles, blue Datsun 240Z. It's the classic coupe shape. What is not to like about that?
I've got to say, actually, I do like these. You don't see that many around, as you say, on a meet.
What?
Well,
a car from the 70s.
Well, it is a car from the 70s, but it's a stylish car from the 70s. I don't know if I'd want to own one. We'll get into that. These cars look like they're Italian styled. They're not Japanese styled, are they?
Well, I mean, they are Japanese styled in the fact that they nicked everything from Italy and then designed it. So, I mean, it's a kind of pastiche, isn't it? But it's a very good one. Unlike kind of bad pastiches, this looks great. I mean, I particularly like the camtail on this. I think that kind of cut-off end looks really good with a little kink spoiler at the back. And it just brings the shape to an abrupt end and makes the haunches, the rear haunches, look really muscular.
Well, let's describe what we're looking at. We're looking at a blue coupe. It's very sort of Fiat 127, kind of like on the front, maybe Fiat Alfa-y. It's very Alfa-y at the back, isn't it? As you say, it's got that cut-off camtail. It's got the backlights that look like they could have come off a 70s Alfa. They're quite big, rectangular, blocky lights, but they're sort of inset. Chrome bumpers, it's got that real three-quarter coupe, 70s stretch coupe kind of thing. It's really nice from every angle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. And actually, if you flick through these photographs, we'll just dodge the interior for the minute. But if you look at the engine bay, that straight six engine bay with a polished rocker cover. I mean, this looks really, really nice, isn't it? Basically, they took everything from 60s sports cars that people liked, put it in a package that worked and started and stopped and was reliable and had long service intervals. And also, you didn't need to tinker with it every weekend. You just got in it and drove. And I think that was the kind of Datsun idea, that they took the best bits from Europe and took the best bits from Japan, put them in a car, and actually these were cracking. Apart from the fact they rust.
They were ahead of their time because these were biodegradable, weren't they? You only had to leave them in the British kind of winter and you'd have holes in it. I mean, that was the Achilles heel in these cars, weren't they? And this is why people ran a mile from them.
Let's just ignore the rusting for the time being because, you got a 5-speed box. You did get quite a modern interior. Okay, now, to modern eyes, it looks bland and plasticky. But if you came from a kind of an MGB or a 60s sports car, this was a very, very modern interior. And you had stuff like heated rear windows and gauges and things that you just didn't get in the 60s cars. Suddenly in the 70s, Datsun was dealing up all these luxuries that you would expect from a car, but not necessarily in a sports car.
It doesn't necessarily scream luxury or anything, but it does scream sportiness. And I think if you look at that interior, you've got cowled binnacles. Well, where do you see those? Alfa Romeos. If you look at the steering wheel, it's a dished Nardi style steering wheel. Where do you see those? You'd see that in an Alfa Coupe or a GTV or a Spider. And then it's got the three gauges on the dials, also recessed in binnacles. Again, very Italian. The whole thing sort of smacks of Italian. The design is very Italian. Why weren't these a bigger success, though? I mean, were they expensive? We've talked about the R word, rust. There must have been something else going on.
Well, I think also in the 1970s, there was still quite a lot of resistance to buying Japanese cars. It took quite a lot of, I don't know, a change in buyer behaviour to get over it, because people were quite patriotic about their 60s MGBs and things. But actually, when you got to the point of a Datsun, which is it worked and it was reliable, and it had that lovely straight six, rear-wheel drive, nice handling, I mean, it had all the things to win people over. There was still a bit of reluctance to buy Japanese because people were sticking with home manufacturers. But this is kind of the start of people buying cars because they were good, not just because they were made down the road.
Yeah, it's very true, actually. You do forget that. I remember, I'm not into motorbikes particularly, but I just remember growing up and people sort of sneered at Japanese motorbikes like Kawasaki's. They kind of looked down their nose a little bit at them. And now, you know, Japanese bikes are revered, especially from that time, the 70s and the 80s. The thing I like about this is the rarity of it. I mean, while you've been talking, I've been looking on how many left. For a 240Z, have a guess how many there are licensed in the UK in 2025.
Oh, do you know, it's interesting because I saw a white one last year and that's the first one I've seen for ages. So I reckon there's probably 300, 400.
Yeah, you're bang on. So for 2025, which is the last figures, 310.
Wow. See, you just aren't going to bump into somebody else in another 240Z. You know, it's highly unlikely. Now, that one on your screen at the moment, that's quite expensive because that's been kind of not resto modded, but they've done lots of modifications to the engine. That's £50,000, which is a lot of money. That's, you know, it's almost 5 MGBs. This next one on your screen has got the 5-hole Wolf Race alloys. It's another blue one. It's a 1973 240Z, and this is up for $35,000. Now, okay, you know, that's probably 3 MGBs, but it's half an E-Type, isn't it? Plus, you get the great ability to not see anybody else in a 240Z on Sunday morning. And I think that's quite important because you're doing something different.
Yeah, it is different. If you like your Alphas, have a look at this because you'll see, as I say, the design cues. I'm looking at this one here. It's in a dark blue, so it's a dark blue coupe. From the back 3/4 there, that 3/4 shot, I mean, it just screams Alpha Coupe, doesn't it? So if you're looking for something slightly different, these are, they are worth a look. As you say, I think probably we're starting to get into the reasons why they're not that popular. They're not, the prices are high for a good one. And if you've got a good one, you're going to be one of 310 people who've got one. So getting so many parts for it, the engine might be okay with consumables, but once you start getting bits of trim and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's
then
that
again,
trim, isn't it? That interior, there's not going to be many of those around.
I do think a car that's too perfect, and we've talked about this in the past, a car that's too perfect isn't much fun. So having something, one, that's different, 2, you're not going to see very many of, and 3, it's going to fill your days trying to find bits for it. It is an interesting proposition, but the only thing is, I think, is the price. 35 grand, you're into a lot of nice classic cars for that money.
And of course, the other thing is rust. They did rust for fun, these. And I think most 70s cars rusted, but I do remember memories of, do you remember Datsun 120Ys and Datsun Sunnies? And you'd see them driving around at the end of their life, and there wasn't a panel that wasn't rusted and bubbles underneath. I don't know what it was about these Japanese cars of the period. Maybe it was cheap steel. Maybe when they were imported into Britain, they were stored in a kind of car park near the sea. But my God, these things rusted. And once they did rust, they kind of lost their allure because nobody wants a rusty sports car.
I've got a bone to pick with you here. This has got a camtail. I thought you didn't like camtails. You've said that the Alpha Spider Series 2 is not the car you picked. It's got a camtail.
Here's the point about this, though. I don't like camtails when there's a prettier tail on offer. So, for example, for the Alpha Spider Duetto with a boat tail, which is one of the most gorgeous cars ever made, then they made the camtail for the Series 2. I think they made a retrograde step because I really love that boat tail. But actually, if it's designed from the start with a camtail, a camtail in your Stag looks great. A camtail on the Triumph Dolomite looks great. I don't mind camtails per se. I just think in the Alpha, there's a prettier one in the boat tail.
Well, I wonder what these drive like. I mean, you said
they drive very nicely. They drive really nicely. I mean, the later 260s and 280Zs were more powerful. and they drove really well. But this is fundamentally, it's a rear-wheel drive sports car, which is light, and it's got 150 brake horsepower. So it's a really nice driving car. The 260s and the 280s got a bit ugly, but I think the 240Z is the best compromise, and it's the prettiest.
Both of these cars have shots of the restoration, and both have got the car on a jig, being sanded down and resprayed and stuff. I think you want to be buying a resto if you can, and you want to be seeing evidence of that resto, because you say, unless you're paying cheap money for this, it's gonna have rust on it somewhere, isn't it? It's got like the Italian cars of the 70s, or Mercedes SLs, those are particular rusty cars like that.
All right, no need to go into it, says the Triumph Stag owner. They've never rusted, have they?
At least on these you'll see it, unlike the Mercedes, where it's hidden inside.
Or the Triumph, when you get those shiny sill covers and hide the rust underneath.
Yeah, don't take those off. So I think you make an interesting proposition with this. It's definitely an intelligent choice. I think the thing that lets it down, apart from the rust, is the price, especially when we're looking at E-types of that price. But I think this is I'm guessing this is going to be a bit more fun to drive than an E-type.
And also, I think it's more reliable. It was more reliable in period, and it'll be more reliable now. You won't have your weekend ruined with oil leaks. It'll start every time. These things went rallying. They're really, really usable. You don't have to spend all your time tweaking and fettling. This is what I like about these. It's just about going to meets and being different. It's episode 48 of the Tyre Kickers podcast. And Matt, what have you been up to? I should know because we went out for lunch this week, but to be honest, I wasn't listening.
Well, since then, something amazing has happened. I've managed to get the car out of the garage for the first time in, 4 weeks?
Hooray!
The Stag's been sat there while it's been snowing, raining. The rain in the UK has been terrible the last few weeks. It's been every single day. But there was a 3-hour window. I kid you not, it was a 3-hour window yesterday where it didn't rain and the sun came out, and I just thought, I'll get the old girl out. Took a couple of goes just to convince her to get going. But once it warmed up, it was fine. So I went and did a couple of sort of tasks. I thought I'd put some air in the tyres. As I was filling the tyres up though, Max, I noticed the date codes on them. The front say 2013, which, okay, there's a bit off. The back say 2003. Oh, maybe I need to change those tyres.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because when do you actually change tyres? I think I was recommended every 7 years, but I know mine are at least 9 years old, possibly 10 now. And I am thinking about getting it done next year. But the trouble is they've got loads of tread on. And, both of us don't like spending unless it's absolutely necessary. And I've kind of limped on with these. But maybe it would be a completely different car with new tyres. Maybe it would feel like a sports car.
Yeah, well, don't go that far. Yeah, it's a tricky one because it's passed an MOT with them last year. There's no damage to the tyres. As you say, they're in good condition. They're good quality. They're Continentals. They've got loads of tread on them. They've obviously been changed in pairs, and they're good. But after I kind of knew that, I started was a bit more nervous about sort of hooning the car a bit, which I should be or shouldn't be. I don't know. Are they dangerous?
It's quite a long time for those bits of rubber to be sitting, isn't it? 22 years or 23 years now.
But if it's past an MOT, they're not the damage on the sidewalls. Obviously they're going to be harder, aren't they? They're less subtle than a new tyre. I think I will splash on some new tyres. And then I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube looking at new tyres for cars. Because classic car tyres are a bit of a pain because you often can't get the exact tyre, can you?
Well, they mostly seem to be either van or taxi tyres available, isn't it? Because those are the people who make that kind of circumference of tyre.
Yeah, exactly that. Or you pay for the classic ones, which will make your eyes go out stalk to the price.
I spent a lot on the Porsche 912 tyres and stuff because you needed the Redsteins, I think it was, and my God, they were expensive. They looked ace because they were exactly kind of like the factory spec, but I think it was 1,200 quid for 4 tyres.
Yeah, the Michelins for the Stag are about 2,000, I think, if you buy a set, which is worth more than most of the car.
Oh, my God.
It's a tricky one with tyres because I think I will get them replaced and I don't want to spend like that silly sort of money. So I've started looking around and there are some options, but as you say, that the tyre sizes are a little bit tricky, I think, and I think there is a sort of a trade-off. But should I be worried about those 23-year-old tyres on the back? I probably should. I
remember when I had my old E-Type and I was running on a tiny, tiny budget, I would drive it from outside when it was wet into a dry garage. And then you could get out and see the tyre patterns left behind. And it was like a kind of Yeti footprint because at no point was the whole tyre in contact with the ground because they were so old and they must have gone so solid that you could kind of see a bit of half tread and then a bit more tread and then just a block. So I do think it might be worth upgrading them for the summer.
We used to buy retreads, didn't we, back in the day when you didn't have money? Are they still a thing?
Yeah, because they were safe, weren't they?
or partially worn or retreads,
Or just going to the scrapyard and buying some wheels and tyres off a wreck and putting them on and just hoping they were better than yours.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It is your connection to the road, isn't it? So maybe, for the sake of a few £100, maybe we should do it. Have you had the SL out the garage at all?
No, to be honest, I've seen the gritters and then more gritters and then the more rain. I did take it out between Christmas and New Year, and I took it, it was a kind of gap in the rain. I had about 3 or 4 hours of dry. So I did take it up and down the dual carriageway for about an hour, actually, because I thought, it does need a really good run, and it probably won't get one for a while. But, it's a Merc, isn't it? I'm sure it'll start again. It's on a trickle charger. But it is those tyres. I reckon, the flat spotting thing. I don't know when flat spotting starts, but probably about now, to be honest.
Do you overinflate them? Because that's what they say to do, isn't it?
No, I should do. There's loads of things I should do, but I just never get round to. But it's no point at these tyres because they're old, so I'll just go and change them, I think. But I have bought over Christmas in the Halford sale, actually, one of those little mini compressors, so I can now do my own tyre pressures. So I'll become one of those anal people, getting them within 0.0001 psi of where they should be.
Well, it's worthwhile investment, actually, because it's now like $150 to fill your tyres up, isn't it?
So that's ridiculous.
If you can do it yourself, that's much, much better. I think with our cars, I think we're pining for the spring, aren't we? Because we have
I can't wait.
Talking about spring, we're obviously getting ready to go on YouTube in a few weeks or so. We've been working behind the scenes on that to try and get that going. It's a lot more faff, isn't it, than doing this?
I wouldn't call that working. We went for lunch.
We did put the world to rights. And
then we said, what should we do? We'll get a set.
So yeah, it's coming soon. In the next couple of months, we're building up to it. Or just a favour from you guys, really. It's gonna really springboard if we can get your support early on. So if you can go to our YouTube channel, which already exists, which is called Tire Kickers Podcast, and can you just subscribe for us, please? It takes 2 seconds. It doesn't cost you any money, but the difference it will make to us is massive, because it will inject some life into YouTube and get us noticed when we do put that first episode on. So if you can go there and subscribe, please. Tire Kickers Podcast is where you'll find us.
The awful thing about this, though, is that we're going to have to see each other regularly, because at the moment we barely see each other. We just do this down a kind of a 56k dial-up modem, which has already gone wrong once this morning. So it's going to be quite unusual, because we'll be able to see each other. So I'll be able to see you doing your last-minute homework on ChatGPT, and you'll be able to see me rolling my eyes.
Well, yeah, and me putting a face at what you're talking about. Well, people will be able to see actually us like being incredulous of what the other one is talking about. It'd be nice, actually. I think we're gonna obviously pick a subject, I think, per episode and really get into it. The bonus, if you listen to this on audio or can continue on audio, you'll just be able to watch our ugly mushes on YouTube at the same time. So hopefully it's fun. You'll also get to see.
You said
cars.
That was a bonus. I think we should ask for clarification from the audience. Is that a bonus?
Can I put one of those confession screens between us? So like talking to a priest, I don't have to look at you.
Forgive me, Father, I have sinned. I've been looking at modern cars on Auto Trader.
Don't forget, you can find us at The Tyre Kickers UK on Instagram and The Tyre Kickers on Facebook.
Right, lots of chat about our topics from the last show. Now, thanks for all of your contact and those who've been involved in our socials.
Yeah, Andrew Field Blades picked up on our feature about the poshed up cars like the Allegro Vandenpla, those sort of things. He says we should have mentioned the Mini Brooklands Max.
Oh, yeah.
And also, and here's an obvious one, it's a bit more modern, but I'd forgotten about this completely, the Aston Martin Signets.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember that?
I think Aston had to do this because there was some kind of European ruling that you had to have a kind of average emissions from your fleet. So because they're all V12s, they decided to get some kind of like tiny car. What was it?
Oh, is that the story of this? Yeah, I think it was like a Toyota IQ. It's like a tiddly little thing. I've got one here. I'll throw it up on your screen. I mean, it essentially looks like, in modern eras, like a tiny Toyota Yaris.
With a huge grill on it.
Massive great grill and an Aston Martin badge on it. Which I think they weren't cheap, were they? Oh, it looks like a smart car from the side. It's so tiny. It's like a door. It's like a door and that's it.
I tell you what it is. It's awful.
It is terrible. And then you go inside and they've tried to make it a bit Aston Martin inside by essentially leather trimming up, stitching up a little shopper Toyota. It's an odd one, isn't it?
I do remember these at the time that Aston tried to convince people that you'd basically have your V12 in the garage and you'd use this for running around. But you just look like an idiot. I mean, it's such an, it's a very small car to begin with. But it just is made a lot worse by putting big car features on it, like that grille.
There's not many of these around, but look at the price on it. Look at the price.
How much is it?
I'm waiting for you to discover it.
I can't find it. Hang on. Back to advert. Hang on. Click. What? £39,000. 40 grand
for essentially a super mini that's got leather seats and an Aston badge on it. I mean, I think you're buying the rarity of that, but I mean, I don't know if I'd put that on a plinth and look at it from a sofa.
I think that's
It's pretty
embarrassing.
ugly. And we were talking about Mercedes 123s as well in the last show and what great cars they are. Daniel McMurtry says he had a 280 saloon back in the day, around the turn of the century, and he absolutely loved it. He said the interior was incredibly well made, and he said the 4-speed auto was great as well. He says much better than the Borg Warner slush boxes of the time. He does say, though, mine was a rotter around the rear floor pan and wheel arches. He said it got to the point I couldn't afford to have it fixed properly, so I swapped it out for a Citroen XM. Now, that's the problem with it. It's the Achilles heel of the 123, isn't it? Rust.
Well, you just find those chrome rear wheel arch kind of like eyebrows and put them on those, and it keeps the rust hidden for about another 2 years. Now, we claimed the 123 was possibly the best car ever made, but This Is Alan74 on Instagram isn't so sure. He says it's the second best car ever made. The W124, he says, the car that came afterwards, perfected it even further. And I do see that because I think the W124 was a better car, but did it look quite as Mercedes? If you have a 123 with that big grille in your rearview mirror, that is Mercedes design language for another 30 years. The W124, it was a bit more rounded. It just looked a bit more bland. I don't want to say that because it's a Bruno Sacco design, but it wasn't quite as Mercedes as the W123.
Yeah, the wind tunnel started getting involved, it felt, didn't it? And I think the 123 has still got that kind of feel of a classic car. And then after that, the cars that came after it just got smoothed out as the years went on. So the 123 is an interesting proposition. It's a car that you can run, rely on, and use, but it's still got that kind of classic kind of feel about it. So I'm still putting my money on the 123, I think. I mean, Dempsey 8617 agrees with the 123. He says it's pure class. Christopher Stevens 892 as well says, I quite agree with you guys. It was probably the best Mercedes ever and one of the finest production saloons.
We also had a great review from Gentle's Garage since the last show. He's the guy we've spoken about before with that great orange 1970s BMW 5 Series. Well, he's put some really nice words on our Apple review page, so thank you very much. It really does help us stand out from the crowd, and that is much appreciated.
If you want to leave a review, please do. The link is on our Instagram bio, and that really helps us as well. Also, nice note on Facebook, Max, from Mark Palmer down in Cornwall in the UK. Mark says that he's really enjoying the show and hopes that we might do a live version of this soon.
We did that at the NEC. Do you remember? I remember looking on a sea of backs because people had turned their chairs around to look in the opposite direction. I don't think that will happen.
We started and the crowd went mild, didn't it? He does suggest, though, Max, that we do it from his local pub in Cornwall. And he's buying as well. So podcast from a pub. Now, there's an idea.
So, as we were just saying, in the last episode, we talked about 50 years of the Mercedes W123, which got me thinking maybe I could get a W123 and then have a set with my Mercedes SL. But then, of course, my R107 SL was based on the W114/W115 series, so I'd probably have to get one of those.
Yeah, okay, great. Could you get on with it?
I'm thinking who else is stupid enough to complete a set of classic cars, which obviously makes me think of you. So have you ever considered complementing your choice of Triumph Stag with a four-door, in particular, the brilliant range of Triumph 2000 and 2.5 saloons from the mid-1970s?
No. Well, mainly because I haven't got the space. Secondly, because I'm not stupid. And thirdly, I'm not sure I want another BL. However, a lot of the styling on my Stag got used on the Triumph 2000 saloon, didn't it? Influenced. In fact, the 2000, I think, came out slightly before the Stag, and it nicked the design. They sort of like nicked from each other. I don't really want one, but you sort of brought it up and said that I should maybe think I should want one. Why so?
Well, I think if you're a true Triumph person, you need one. It was designed by Michelotti, so that's also the Herald, the Spitfire, the TR4, the TR5, the Stag, the Dolomite, and a surprisingly long production life from 1963 to 1977. So these were 6 cylinders, 4-speed manual, front discs, rear drums, but it's the looks of these I really like. Here's one for sale. Interestingly, the only one I could find. Now, this is in russet brown, so it's like a bullseye show here. This is the colour you could have had if you'd stuck with factory colours on your Stag.
Well, if the guy who'd had my Stag hadn't resprayed it, this was the colour it was. And russet brown, I say, is probably my least favourite colour.
Oh, let me interrupt. Look on picture 6. On the flanks, it's got the BL badge that I bought you for Christmas. Look at that.
Which will be going on my Stag eventually once I get it cleaned. God, this colour, it really is a turn-off russet brown, isn't it? It is a yucky colour, and I can see why the guy resprayed mine in a sort of metallic rather than this. It doesn't make the car look good. These aren't sexy cars anyway.
I think they are quite sexy. I think they're quite good.
Yeah, because you BL brainwashed. That's why. These are pretty drab.
Says the owner of a BL car.
These are drab shopper cars that have got, you know, in the
No, you can't say
Yeah,
that. They're
they
really
are.
nice. These
And in
Triumph
this
2000s
colour.
are really nice cars. You know, they've got the front of your Stag, so from
Yeah.
the front they are your Stag, and
Yeah.
they've got that great kind of saloon body with a camtail at the back. I think this is a really gorgeous design.
Yeah, this is kind of got a lot of stuff that jars with me. I mean, it's got mini light wheels on and mud flaps, and it's in russet brown. It doesn't make the car look good, but I think from the front, as you say, it starts off well because it's got the Stag, you know, double headlights and the indicator cluster, and then it's got those little bulges on the bonnet as well. And then as you sort of look back down the car, it just goes into bland. And then you get to the back and the camtail, again, a camtail. I didn't think you like camtails. It gets to the back and the camtail, it's just dull. It's just really dull. Where's the Stag has got that sort of echo of the front. It's got that kind of ovalness. This is just slabbed off at the back, and it just looks boring. It looks really boring. Let's get to the interior, but that's even more boring.
If you notice, it's got a tartan blanket on the back seat, which kind of gives you an
what a
idea
surprise.
of the market it's aimed at.
Yeah, where's the travel suites in the metal round tin? It's just, I can't see that's boring. You show me a Dolomite, yes. A Triumph 2000, not so much.
Okay, well, I'm going to raise you. Let's leave the Triumph 2000 behind. Let's go to the Triumph 2.5, which you could order with the letters P and I, with a badge on the rear pillar showing you put your fuel in under pressure, not just dribble it in like an old man. Well, under pressure some of the time, of course, it used Lucas fuel injection, which was apparently a modified windscreen wiper motor running at high pressure, 110 psi. And surprise, surprise, it failed a lot, especially in hot countries. But if you ignore that, here's one for sale in France. It's a wreck. Okay, it's a restoration project.
Are you being serious? That's not a relatively good-looking car. I mean, this, as you say, it's a restoration. This is more of a cry for help, this one. I mean,
Yeah,
it just
is,
looks
isn't it?
sad.
I think you should
looks like
answer that
it's
cry.
having-
I think you should buy this and restore it.
It's in France somewhere having a cry on its own, basically, on road-style wheels, which I don't think did they come with it, road-style wheels?
I think if you went for the budget one, you got rose-style wheels, yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, they're like Mark 1 Stag ones, aren't they? I mean, this has got rust on every panel. It's white. The chrome looks like it all needs replacing. It's got tingy yellow headlights, which are the only interesting thing about the car. It's on French plates, left-hand drive. It's white. It's different shades of white. It's 50 shades of white, this thing. And it is a heap, and this just needs to go in the Crusher Max. This is not, I can't see how you would see this as appealing. Who'd want to restore that, and why?
There's so few of them around. I mean, basically, lots of them must have just rusted and got thrown away. Also, I think the injection was so unreliable, they actually replaced it with carbs afterwards. Then you got the 2500S and the TC, the twin carb, in 75, because the fuel injection was so rubbish, they put carburetors back on it.
This car just needs an injection from the vets, really. I mean, it's just at a point now where it just needs to be quietly tapped on the head and said, you've had a good life, off you go.
I realise I've lost this one, so why don't I move on to this one? Now, you could actually have a complete set. You could have your Stag, you could have a saloon, and you could have the estate, because they made an estate version of this as well.
This is gonna be
so
bad.
you could have all three poking at you underneath the covers in your garage. I think the estate is a really good-looking car. Plus, it's really practical. Look at this. It's on your screen now, the 2500 injection. So, okay, it will be rubbish, but it does look nice. And the estate, I mean, that's a perfect family car for you, a family man.
Oh, it's got a sporty front and a frumpy back. It looks like it's had like lipstick on a pig. You know, it's not really a nice looking car, is it? And it's not like it's thought through. The front looks like it's like going somewhere. The back looked like it's like a dog that doesn't want to walk any further.
You know, there's not that many examples around, so I am on a bit of a sticky wicket here. But if you just look at the front and then you think this is an estate car, it's got all the things in when you go for your family picnics. It's probably got another rug in the back as well. I think that's a really good car. Think of the set, the Stag, the saloon, and the estate.
I'd rather not. What was going on at the back as well? What were they thinking? Because they've got this big expanse of space here and then the world's tiniest cluster of lights, which is just odd. Yeah, it just looks horrible. And these sort of 70s estates had all this kind of design thing at the back where they had this huge back clear window, didn't they? Mass expanse of glass.
Yeah, but
that
great
didn't
view.
really balance
You
the
could
car
see
out
everything
at all.
around these. They're really
Great view,
light
yeah.
cars. If you're sitting in the back as a passenger, you actually get to see everything.
I'd want privacy glass in this so that nobody saw me in it. And when you get into the interior, it's got the bit I don't like about my Stag, which is the interior, and it's just really frumpy and horrible and cheap wood and nasty.
And this one's got a aftermarket wooden steering wheel.
Yeah, which is made it even worse.
Am I feeling there's going to be no sister car for your Stag in the garage?
Well, no, it's true. I think probably, I've got to say, the Stag is probably the only British Leyland product I'll ever buy. I don't think I'll hanker for another one. I don't think I'll hanker for another Stag after this even. And you know, British cars, we've talked about this before, there is a massive lost opportunity, wasn't there, in the 70s? They could have been brilliant. You know, and the bones of them were good, but then the cheaping out of the design and the lack of kind of, I don't know, the Italians had a bit more confidence in design, didn't they? They would be a bit more out there.
This wasn't a kind of Italian design; it was a Michelotti design, so it does have hints of Italy.
It started as an Italian design, and then it's obviously just gone through the BR boardroom, hasn't it? The stuff that would have made these cars great got cheaped out. I think, you know, they didn't have the confidence. The exterior they gave to Michelotti, and he did a great job with them.
I think if I got you a Triumph 2000 Saloon in the right colour with your Stag, that would look great. People would walk past the garage and say, wow, what a cool collection. What's he doing driving them?
Episode 48, and now Max, we've got to face up to facts here, because we're around the time of our life when things stop working. Our carburetors, for example, get blocked, fluids start to weep, and our suspension doesn't quite bounce like it used to from the factory.
Speak for yourself, Matthew. I flew through an MOT last week, just a couple of advisories here, worn discs and occasional backfiring.
Yeah, at our age, it's all about getting thrills on the cheap wherever we can. So we were wondering, what was the best classic car we could buy for our midlife? A car that will stave off the Grim Reaper and convince people that we've still got it.
Now, I have the answer. This is the car that will make people believe we were born to the beat of Britpop. It's Thomas Magnum's Ferrari 308 GTS. This car is so cool, it's a time machine, taking us back to when cars were fun and did skids, and also collapsed horribly in a crash. Look, a Ferrari 308, I think this is the perfect midlife classic. It's red, it's convertible, but it's a Targa, so the wind won't blow your toupee off. And I just think it's got that feel of, oh, I'm still young. You know, I can still do it. I can still keep up with the kids. I'll show you how to dance. That kind of feeling that we all get, that we get to a certain point. And I just want a bit of excitement, a bit of life. And what's better for that than a red Ferrari?
These are starting to look good now, aren't they? They're aging really, really nicely.
I mean, really nice.
I have the thing with Ferraris, they do sort of start to look a bit all the same to me. But this one, I think it is a midlife crisis. I can't not think of him in a tash in it though, driving this about. But I think it's got a nice look to it, hasn't it? It's got those rounds rear lights on the back. It's got the pop-up headlights on the front. And I wonder what the prices are on this. We'll get into those. But, are they affordable Ferraris? Or do they, need oil from the Peruvian mountains, the Italian mountains to run? Oh, 60 grand this one is.
Yeah. And the V8s are okay in these, actually, because it was quite a tried and tested engine at this point. I think the 308s are really good cars. They've been kind of stuck in the same sort of 60 to 70,000 pound price bracket for quite a while. So I think it's maybe a good time to buy. And it's just a perfect midlife crisis car. I mean, what is better than this?
What would it be like to drive? Because I'm the aching joints and things. These are quite hard work, aren't they?
The GTSs are awful because they've got the most terrible scuttle shake in the world. I drove one once and the wheel was shaking in my hands as we went round a corner. But the GTBs, the ones with roofs, okay, they're not quite as good for your midlife crisis, but they are really nice driving cars. They're not particularly fast, got a great V8, and they handle. I think 308s are the next big thing. There's still probably a few of them around, so they're not going to be that expensive. But once people get into these and realise how good they drive, I think 308s are really one to watch.
I mean, if you're having a midlife crisis, you do need stuff a bit more power assisted. I mean, the perfect old man's car has got to be a Mercedes 107.
Stag.
No, Mercedes 107.
Trump Stag.
If you get into that time in your life where it's all a little bit difficult, so to change gears and turn the steering wheel, then look at this one, Max. If this would suit you down to the ground, it's a red 1989 300 SL. I mean, that's almost the perfect car for you. It's the same as the one you've got.
I think it's interesting here because we have actually hit upon, as two gentlemen in their mid-50s, we have actually hit upon in our cars virtually perfect midlife crisis cars, isn't it? Because I'm just going to look at a Triumph Stag here. There's a 1976 Triumph Stag and I think Minerva Blue. What could be better than taking out your significant other of 30 or 40 years in a Triumph Stag? It's just smells of the 1970s, smells of the past, perfect for a kind of retro trip.
Hands up and being honest about this. This is one of the reasons I did buy this because, it's got power-assisted steering and it's an automatic and it's easy to drive around it. It doesn't mean that I don't hanker after something like a Healy or something like that where I have to work it a bit more. But, when you get to a certain point in life, the effort of driving an old car is an effort, unless you're going, and I was thinking with my last car, my Sunbeam Alpine, I'd probably only go about half an hour, 40 minutes before I kind of had enough and I wanted to get out and stretch my legs and go and have a beer or go and do something and then drive it back. I wouldn't look to do long journeys in it. This, however, last year a mate said, "Do you want to meet for lunch in Sussex?" And I said, "Yeah," and do it. And I drove there and back and I didn't have that sweaty back and I didn't get there all frazzled. And there is an argument as well when you're knocking on a bit, and I'm looking at you, you do need these sort of power-assisted things. To do it. I mean, it still doesn't remove the old carness of it. You still get that enjoyment, don't you? But it's still not quite so hard work.
Yeah, because when I had that 1966 Porsche 912, I put on an extra big exhaust on it, and it needed double the clutching through the 5-speed gearbox, and it was a dogleg gearbox, and the steering was a bit heavy. And actually, I'd be thinking, oh, wow, this is just such hard work. And that's why I've kind of melted into a Mercedes SL, because it is comfortable, it's easy, it doesn't take a lot of hassle to keep it going, it doesn't break down for starters, which is always a good thing when you're trying to relate to a car. And there is a kind of like midlife crisis car that you want it to be sporty, you want it to be fun, but you don't want it to be hassle, because there's enough hassle in life as it is. So I'm going to suggest to you another one. If you look on your screen now, this is a 1999 Porsche 996 911 convertible. Now, we're getting into modern classics here, which I know automatically you'll just disagree with me. But actually, this is £18,000 and it's a Porsche 911. It has all the kind of hallmarks of a midlife crisis car, but for £18,000. And these 996, they're really cheap. They drive nicely. This is a manual, so it's not the awful Tiptronic. I think this is a great midlife crisis choice.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't really excite me enough. It should do. I mean, I think these 2000 cars are great. I mean, this is on the cusp of 2000. But this sort of era of car are a load of bang for your buck. Any of these sorts of cars, and they're modern enough to use and have a bit of legs to use. They're modern enough to use as a weekend car. But I think it is a weekend car. I don't think it's a classic car. We'll disagree on this, but it doesn't. I don't think that's going to excite me enough. To be honest, I'd rather go for this next choice, which is this MGB.
Okay. This is a classic midlife crisis car, isn't it? If you buy an MGB, you are screaming "help me" to everybody around.
Well, you are. Is it a midlife crisis car? Is it seen as that? No, I think the Porsche is more a midlife crisis car. I think if you were to rock up, meet your friends down a pub and you turn up in a 911, 20-year-old 911, they'd be, oh, okay, it's just still, look at him, he's still trying to think he's cool. Whereas an MGB, it's sort of, I think you just get a little pat on the back and a bit more sympathy, don't you?
Yeah, and somebody would offer you a seat. Here, sit down. It's been a long journey. Is it you a bit tired, or was it your hips?
Talking about this, obviously, a lot of MGB drivers, and a lot of classic car drivers are in their 80s and stuff, and they're not moaning about it. It was only us that's moaning about it.
And we're softer. We're too soft for this.
But we've got soft hands, haven't we? We're working in radio.
Never done a day's work in our life. That's why.
So, yeah, I mean, an MGB, I can't fit in an MGB. A head sticks out the top and I just can't, the wheel rubs my legs and that sort of stuff. But I would happily have an MGB, as I've said before. I think I've got nothing bad to say about MGBs. I think
I haven't. I mean, apart from there's loads around. When I was looking for an example for an MGB to put up, there's 8 pages of them for sale, which is good because it gives you loads of choice and it keeps the price down. But it's also bad because virtually everybody else has got one, and that's my big problem with MGBs. I really like them, but it's like kind of, I don't know, magnolia paint or beige carpets. It's just too easy to get into one.
Yeah, I think you're being too. You've got to have some perspective. Everybody hasn't got an MGB. You could probably name how many people do you know with an MGB? You don't. It's when you drive up to a car meet. Well, in your town, how many do you see? I mean, I see 1 or 2 buzzing around. I don't see that many. Relatively, they're still rare, aren't they, as a car? Not many people have a classic car.
Going for an MGB is just a bit too easy. It's a bit too civilian. It's the one that kind of like non-classic car people would choose. And that's probably my only problem with it, because I really like them. But it's just a bit too common.
That's amongst car people, isn't it? That's the
only people I hang around. I don't meet real people. I don't want to meet real people.
True. I still think it's cool. I still think there's an argument for a really, really nice MGB in your garage. I think you're going to pop the garage door up on a really nice restored MGB or a really pristine original one, and you're still going to smile, aren't you?
I think it probably, for midlife crisis cars, it's the runner-up. I think the number one has got to be the Triumph Stag.
Well, if the flat cap fits, I've got to wear it, I suppose. Well, you'll be delighted to know that is it for this episode. But coming up next time...
Remember the car-based van, the saloon that was stripped of every extra and had a big van body grafted onto the back. We look at our favourite vans made from cars.
And we'll discuss the classic car you'd never own. What's too awful that you would never, ever buy it or park it on your drive?
That's all ahead in the next edition of the highly commended, awards-nominated podcast that is The Tyre Kickers.
We should have won, Max. We were robbed. See you next time. Bye.
Bye. All yours.
We're doing more. I thought we got to the end.
No.
I thought we'd finished.
No.
Okay, here we go.
You wish. Well, have you got somewhere better to be? Aren't your parents coming around for lunch in about 10 minutes?
Yeah.